This video is for you if you've heard a lot about triads, but you're still a little skeptical on exactly how you might use them in your playing. I'm going to give you 11 ways to use triads, and getting this down will really make playing all over the fretboard almost too easy. Triads are a lot more than they appear to be. Check this out. Triads. Check this out. Triads. Check this out. You guessed it, it's triads. Triads can be so many things. They can be pretty, funky, spicy, whatever you want, and there's so many ways you can use them in your playing. I have a lot of videos already on exactly how you can learn triads, how you can drill them, how you can get them down. This is going to be 11 ways you can actually apply that knowledge into your playing and use them. And that's what we really need in this YouTube world, because there's so many YouTube videos telling you what to learn, but how many YouTube videos are there telling you how to use what you've learned on your playing? Everybody's hiding that. So today we're going to talk about it. So number one is simply targeting your triads in your soloing. So like for example, we have our triad. Let me set a little loop up here. We're going to do a little slow progression here so they're easy to pick out. We're going to have A, well, let me just do it. A, and we'll do F sharp minor. And then let's go to freaking D. So I make all these loops. I just kind of waffle. And then the E. That'll be our loop. Shoo! A little loud, baby girl. So when I'm focusing on the notes in the triads, or highlighting the triads, I'm taking the whole chord and pulling the notes individually out, like this. Like we'd have our A triad, we go to the A chord, just picking them out. We have our F sharp minor triad, and then to our D triad, and then to our E triad. And there's just another A triad. Well, F sharp minor 7 triad, which is by the way the same as an A triad, funny enough. So yeah, just taking the triads and pulling the notes out individually and trying to land on those notes every time the chord changes. And what I was doing there was exactly that, just landing on the notes. I'll text up what the chords were as I was playing them, because I think it's a helpful way to kind of see what I'm doing. And just like I said in another video, I'm almost just saying that for myself to remind myself. Number two is using parts of the triads as double stops. Double stops are great, just like stacking strings together basically. And if you use your triads to create these double stops, they'll be very chordy because you're using chords. So let me just play with that same progression. A. So what was I doing? Let me explain a little. What was I doing there? That's the top of the A triad, and I'm just moving that top note, or bottom note I mean, down. Now where are we? So that's kind of the idea, is using the triads to create your double stops, then sliding around inside of your scale with them. So that's what this would look like. The third way we can use our triads is to create lead rhythm parts. What do I mean by lead rhythm parts? Well, when you're the lead guitarist in a band, your job isn't just to solo. I know, boo-hoo, cry about it. Your job a lot of the time is to be a second rhythm part, but on a different part of the fretboard. Because if you're ever watching a band and they have two guitar players, and at any point those two guitar players are just doing the exact same thing, that band is not trying very hard. Haters gonna hate. Call me one of them, I guess. No, I'm not a huge hater. I mean, do whatever you want. But at the end of the day, if you already have one guitar player playing something, what is the benefit of having a second guitar player playing the same thing when that guitar player could just be playing the same thing higher up on the neck? So why don't I just make a higher up part for this as an example? We had what? A, F sharp minor, D, and then E. So I could just come up here and be like A, and then F sharp minor, and then D, and then E. So let's play it one time around and then I'll freaking throw it on. First try, watch. First try while I'm staring at, no, I'm not gonna stare at the camera while I do it. I'll miss the frets if I do that. Let me add it on here. So we got A coming up. Weak rhythm, by the way. And then we got the D up to E. Let's add a little 7 on there. It's a little rushed, but I said I was going to do it first try, so we're not allowed to try again. But that's the idea of adding a higher up rhythm part. I was just playing triads, like A triad, and then F sharp minor triad, D triad, E triad. It wasn't anything crazy. I've had times where it does have to be something crazy. Like once my buddy wrote like a song that was a little wild. It was like this. And I was tasked with making a lead part for it. So what would I do? I learned the song. I literally just learned this. I mean, I just played it for you. How would I do that if I didn't know the song? And then I just found the chords higher up on the neck. What was it? I'm forgetting it. I think I played it in the intro of this video. And that's like a more complex example than what I just did on that loop. But the idea is literally just playing the chords as triads. Like you can't do that if you don't know your triads, but if you do, that's just a great way to apply them in your playing, especially if you're with a band. Shout out my fellows who have bands out there. Comment if you have a band. That's kind of sick. I have a band sometimes, but usually I'm just in my basement recording videos. Number 4 is going to be saucing up basic guitar parts. Say you're learning a song that's like G, C, D, C, right? I know my ADHD is going to get bored playing that for 5 minutes, right? So I would assume my maybe ADHD listeners would get bored listening to that for 5, 10 minutes, whatever. So you can use these triads to spice up these parts. Like when you're on that open chord, slide up into a triad and then start riffing around the notes. So like G, C, D, G. G, and like going around the progression look like. I'm forgetting the progression I just wrote. But that's the idea, is just going around and adding those triads in and adding a little riffing to literally anything you're playing. This is about applying and how you can apply them anywhere. I'm literally saying, take your triads and put them on everything. Why are you drilling your triads if you're not going to use them? You might as well just take your clock of time and put it in the trash can, okay? I don't know what I'm doing here with my arm, but that's the idea here, is just saucing up your ideas. Saucing up basic ideas, making them more fun, having a darn old good time while you're playing. That's really what we're here for, right? We're not trying to make guitar boring. That sucks. Guitar's supposed to be fun. You just have to put the work in to make it cool and fun. Number 5 is going to be making portions of your solos sound big. This is pretty similar to number 4 we just went over, like just grooving on your triads. But I've had times, there's a song that I was in the studio for like a month ago that isn't out yet, so you're just going to have to take my word for it, where I think the solo part was pretty cool. And part of the solo, or this is the chord progression. Let me just loop the chord progression and kind of show you what it is here. I physically can't play the studio solo here, but I'm going to explain to you what it was and how I did it. So in the studio solo, there's part where it has a big build-up. So at the end of that progression, it does this little A and then to an A dominant 7 with the 9 on it. And then when it comes back around, there's some big hits on it. And then we stacked a bunch of guitars. Wah! Made it sound really big. But before that, to build into it, I was on this A triad, and I just went, literally just taking my A triad, sliding up what would be the 5 into the 7, and then just working it down. I don't remember exactly what it is, something like that. And then it comes in. But let me kind of give you an idea of how this triads make it sound big here. So. You see there, when I go from playing single notes to bringing in those whole triads and riffing around on top of those, it's very harmonious. It makes there be a lot more sound, makes it sound a lot bigger there. By the way, if you want to work directly with me to be able to improvise and write all over the fretboard, check out this top video in the description down there right at the top. You don't even have to press see more, and that's on purpose. And it'll go over exactly what it looks like to work with me, and if you click with it, we will make it happen, and I'll help you max out your guitar playing, and it'll be awesome. Number 6 way to apply your triads to your guitar playing is to find your way back home anywhere on the neck if you're lost. Now, it doesn't matter how good you get at the guitar. One day you're going to be playing on something and you're going to get lost again, right? You know, you're on stage, maybe a little too cooked, right? Whatever it is, maybe you're just tired. Doesn't really matter how you got there, but you're going to be lost, right? Guitar players of any skill have times where they're like, oh my god, what the hell? But the more you know, the quicker you can get yourself back. So say I'm playing over a progression and I'm just feeling generally lost, but I know that I have my triads I can land on anywhere. Like say I just lose track of the scale, like if I'm trying to look at the audience or something and I'm like falling off of the scale a little bit because I'm not looking at my hands. By the way, good skill to have, not looking at your hands, but that's something you're going to have to accept might happen here and there while you're doing it. Well, when I go to look back at my hands, I can just go like, oh, A chord, boom. Oh, A chord, boom. Oh, A chord, boom. It doesn't matter where on the neck I am, I can bring myself back home. So that's a great way to apply it, is just bringing yourself back home when you're lost. Number 7 is going to be arpeggiating your triads anywhere and everywhere. This is a great way to add on to kind of the thing we were saying earlier when you're doing the lead rhythm, right? You can take these same ideas and just arpeggiate them, like play the notes individually. So actually experiment with that in your playing. Experiment with all these in your playing. I hope this video gives you a lot of little tidbits, little notes. You can jot them down and apply it in your own playing here. Number 8 is going to be applying these triads to make funky rhythms, especially using 7 chords. What? How are we going to play 7 chords of triads, Brayden? I got you. So you take your basic triad, which is 1, 3, 5. If you want to find the 7, you can just take that 1 and bring it down a whole step. And boom, 7 chord. And in this one I'm doing 1, 3, and 7. A triad is just a 3-note chord. Nobody told you you can't put a 7 in there. Yeah, so most of what I was doing there is just playing 7 chords as triads, grooving it up, and a little boom, boom, boom. Really like visualize a drum beat in your head and just mess around with playing your triads in different ways. I was doing a C7 to an F7, which is also, I think those are the same chords as Feeling Alright by Joe Cocker, by the way. Feeling alright. I'm not feeling too good myself. I don't actually really know that song, but anyway. Number 9. Is that what we're on? Yeah. Number 9. I'll do number 9. Number 9, like everybody's favorite Beatles song, is going to be Hendrix style thumb chords. This is where you take a triad, say we're at a G major triad, or this is an A major, and you put your thumb on the 1 on the root string. Jimi Hendrix was a big thumb guy, and that's technically improper guitar technique, but whoever said that, I don't even know who it is, so they probably weren't even that good at the guitar. Now it's probably the jazz heads, and they are pretty good at the guitar. But the thumb, you take your triad, throw your thumb on the bottom. You can use that with a lot of chords. I use it in one of my songs. How does the progression go when I use it? That's just walking down different triads with the thumb on the bottom. If we were to think about them as triads, it would be like A major with the A on the bottom. Then it's like an E major with an A flat on the bottom. And kind of like a E minor, now G on the bottom. And just F sharp minor 7. So experiment with playing triads and start with your thumb on there and riffing around. Jimi Hendrix was big on riffing around and he was doing that. And I remember earlier on in my playing, I definitely felt like using the thumb was way easier to use the thumb and riff than trying to riff on the bar chords. I think I've come around and I feel like they're pretty similar now, but I think it's a good way to experiment with using your triads. Number 10 is going to be slow motion to create pretty motion, because nothing, you don't always gotta be playing so fast, right? You don't always gotta be playing fast. What do I mean by slow motion to create something pretty? Well, here's a little example. We got G. This is like a thumb chord, like I was saying. And then just being really slow with the motion to create like a pretty progression. I'm just walking the 1 down the scale and then alternating the 3 going between 3 and 2, basically. So 1, 3, 5. Wait, 1, 3, 5. 7, 2, 5. 6, 3, 5. And then I guess 5, 3, 5. So that is a fantastic way to create something beautiful by using your triads. Now, what is last? Number 11, it's got to be a real banger. I'm going to be honest, sitting on the dock and just like coming up with 11 ways to use triads actually took a guy a second. And by second, I only mean like, I guess 20 minutes. But it was the first half easy. And then I was like, damn, I need 6 more. But Clearly we made it, right? So number 11 is going to be bouncing between your triads to fill the sound of what you're doing solo. And I can't believe it took me till 11 to think of this one, because I probably use this one the most out of all of them. So say you're playing by yourself, right? Or you and a drummer. I had somebody message me on Instagram the other day asking how they could fill in the sound more with just them and a drummer. So shout out to that guy. I don't remember who it was. The idea here is bouncing between your triads to fill the sound. So if we're on A minor, for example, and I go to riff, right? Instead of just playing single notes like A minor and then single notes, I would try and stick on the triads, and then if I'm moving around the fretboard, grab other triads. So like there's an A minor triad here and an A minor triad here. And we're like a D7 here. If I was moving up on the fretboard, it's like trying to grab the other notes in the chord. And it's hard to grab the notes in the chord without this triad knowledge. But if you know your triads around the neck, you can grab those triads and move around with them to fill in the sound in any situation, but especially if you're playing by yourself or you don't have like a whole band with you. And if you want to know more about how you can work directly with me to be able to write and improvise all over the fretboard, check out this video right here that goes in depth, very in depth, on exactly what that'll look like and shares a few messages from my students on how they felt about working with me. It's rooted in the proof, because nobody cares what people on the internet have to say if it's not proven to be true. That's a fact. I'll see you tomorrow. You have a good evening, or whatever time it is that you may be watching this lesson.